we're going to do something new for math class. For your next 3 lessons, you're going to receive your lessons in video format. We're going to play the videos in class. If you want to, you can review the lessons when you go home by going onto the internet and going to my video math diaries. This morning we're going to talk about adding and subtracting fractions. I'm going to work a couple of examples on the board so that you can see how we do it. Now you may remember doing some of these last year, so it's not completely new. Let's start with fractions with like denominators, denominators that are the same. So let's take the fraction 2/5 plus 1/5. And when we have the denominator the same, and we're adding or subtracting, we just add or subtract the numbers at the top. So this problem here would be 2 plus 1/5, and the answer would be 3/5. And you'll remember this from last year and the year before. The next example I want to do is with fractions that have denominators that are not the same. Let's take the problem 2/3 minus 1/4. Now anytime we're adding or subtracting fractions and the denominator is not the same, we have to find a common denominator. What we're going to do is we're going to have the fractions have the same denominator. Now the easiest way to do this is to cross multiply, okay, or to multiply this denominator by 4 and this denominator by 3. And if we do that, we end up with 12s. If we multiply this one by 4 over 4 and this one by 3 over 3, now the reason I can do 4 over 4 is 4 over 4 is 1, and we can multiply any number by 1 and we don't change it. This one we're multiplying by 3 over 3, which is 1, and we're not changing this number here at all. What we end up with is 4 times 2 is 8, and 4 times 3 is 12. 1 times 3 is 3. 4 times 3 is 12. So we have the problem 8/12 minus 3/12. Now we have fractions with like denominators, and we work the problem the same way we did before, where we take 8 minus 3 over 12, and that would be 5/12. We work all the problems the same way. Find a common denominator by cross-multiplying, and then work the problem as fractions with like denominators. Here's a diagram of the problem we just worked. As you can see, we have the problem 1/5 plus 2/5, and because the like denominator, we can add the two numerators, the numbers on top, 1 plus 2 over 5, and that gives us 3 over 5. Now here's a picture of that problem, okay? Now here is the square they're talking about, right here. And you can see that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 parts. This is 1 part out of 5. That's 1/5. Here we have 2 parts out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 2/5. And then you can see that 1/5 plus 2/5 takes you to 3/5. And that's why we can just add the numerators on numbers with like denominators. Here's a diagram of the problem I just worked. We had 2/3, which is 2 parts out of 3, minus 1/4, which is 1 part out of 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we said before that the first thing we have to do is get a common denominator. And we did that by cross multiplying. And if you remember, we ended up with 12 as the denominator. So we took 2/3 times 4/4, and that gave us 8/12. And you can see here that 2/3 is the same, is equal to 8/12. And you can see that 1/4, when you multiply by 3/3, gives you 3/12. And you can see that 1/4 and 3/12 are the same fraction, the same value. And then we have like denominators, and if we have 8/12 and we take away 3 of them, we take these 3 away, we end up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12. With the common denominator, we just take this sign and do the action with the numerators. 8 minus 3, 12. I hope you found the lesson helpful, but if you still have any questions, come see me.